Good afternoon, dear panelists and the audience on this platform. We welcome you all to this webinar with a thought which has surely passed our minds at least once: giving back to society. I have a very beautiful poem to share with you by Bruno Gwent Youth Forum. A child sits on a dirty floor. The wind howls in through the door. This is where the child calls home, on the street where the child can roam. His estate is a dangerous place. It homes tens of children. It is a disgrace. The kids in school are asking for a new phone. The boy asks his parents not to leave him home alone. His parents with no money can't cope. The boy has given up all hope. They want to give the child a good life, but poverty leaves them with trouble and strife. They hope and pray for the future ahead, not like many others who end up dead. When you're walking out down a street, look at all the different children you meet. Some are rich, some are poor. Some don't even have homes to go. When you're out walking down a street. Welcome once again. And I'm Tasneem Mesiwala, the moderator of the event. I'm the co-owner of Sera International and the head of the Childcare Colaba. I'm very happy to associate with Giants Welfare Foundation and Angel Express Foundation as a working member. We have amongst us today two very enterprising, hardworking panelists who have dedicated their profession towards the social cause of giving back to society. Ms. Rashida Maimun, Giants Welfare Foundation Branch 1, Public Relation Officer, fashion designer, and content writer by profession and a social worker by passion. Giants Welfare Foundation is the first India-based international service organization founded by late Padma Shri Nana Chaudhasama. With over 600 charters across the world, Giants movement provides its members an ideology base and organization platform to enable citizens to play their role for community welfare. Every good citizen wishes to do some useful social service. Giants translate that wish into a will. Strong supporter of equal rights to education and mental health awareness. Currently running a mission of spreading awareness about child molestation. Let's welcome Ms. Rashida Maimun. Please say hello to all, Rashida.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you. Let's go on to the introduction for our next enterprising panelist, Ms. Hina Mulchandani. Ms. Hina is from the Angel Express Foundation. She works as a center manager for Colaba. Hina always has a strong desire to teach children and make a difference in the lives of the less fortunate. Angel Express Foundation has given her an opportunity to do all of that and more. She has a special attachment with the children and makes every effort to give them as many different and new experiences as possible. She is a postgraduate in commerce and has a prior work experience of 4 years in the startup industry. She also runs an independent personalized gifting venture called Framed Forever. At Angel Express Foundation, she not only teaches the curriculum to the 10th grade students, but also manages the Colaba Center. Her ways of teaching are unconventional, and her focus is on understanding rather than rote learning. She believes that all work and no play makes Jill a dull girl and Jack a dull boy. So it's no surprise that her classes are full of fun and enjoyment, and not just studies alone. She loves Bollywood music and some garam garam chai and long drives. We welcome Ms. Hina Mulchandani onto the webinar. Say a hello to all, Hina.
Hello, everyone.
Great to have both of you over here.
Thank you.
So let's start with, a few questions, knowing more about the humble dedication you are devoted to. I would like to pose the question first to Rashida. What is the vision of your organization, Rashida? Touching lives in underprivileged children. What are the age groups you all work with? And what services do you provide to the children?
Our mission at Giants Welfare Foundation, normally we want to give children a complete holistic development, which is why apart from the education fees that we've been providing to children past 25-30 years in lakhs of rupees, it's going
a little louder, Rashida, a little louder.
We are giving fees, like education fees to children past around 25-30 years. We've been giving that to children. But apart from education and overall holistic development that is needed for children, we need to also focus on other things like sports events, art and craft competitions, and that they get the basic nutrition. So we provide food, especially during lockdown when things were really difficult for them. And we provided food to a lot of children all throughout all the days of the lockdown. Apart from that, I feel that they should have the confidence to face the world. And so we also train them, we create awareness in child molestation so that they have this awareness, they can say no to things like that happening to them if it does. And if it does, then they should also have the confidence to get up and speak to an adult, ask for help without feeling guilty about it. That is very important. So overall holistic development is what we look at. And then many other seminars like mental health and other things amongst them. So that is the basic motive that we are trying to give for the children. Also talking about awareness about child labor, which is very, very important, because the basic rights to education in this egalitarian world where many of these street children are not getting the basic right to education. That is very, very important. So we try to do as much as we can on all these counts on overall development of a child.
Thank you. My question to Hina is, what is the vision of your organization, Hina? And how are you touching the lives of the underprivileged children in the positive way? Speak a little about what you do in Angel Express Foundation.
So at Angel Express Foundation, we focus predominantly on the education bit for the underprivileged children. We have 3 categories of children that we deal with. From the 2nd grade to the 8th grade, we teach them English, math, and life skills, which are basic essential skills in today's day and age that any individual needs to be able to go around their life confidently without feeling lesser than another individual. Other than that, the 9th and 10th grade students are coached for their board exams so that they do well. And because of this coaching, the last year, the examination that happened this March when the pandemic began, most of the students who appeared have scored more than 75% in their board exams, coming from first generation learner homes. And we have recently started another program called a youth engagement program, because after 10th grade, when these kids step into the real world, like going into college or finding part-time jobs and all, is when they feel that we don't know how to deal with these situations. So we've started hand-holding them even then, up until they finish their graduation, where we have career awareness, career ready programs. We do grooming skills with them, soft skills trainings with them. So basically, we work with them from grade second or whenever they join us up until graduation. We handhold them so that they have so that they know how to deal with the world even when they get into it, and we make sure that they are ready for it. Even this current situation, in the COVID situation, we thought that probably we will not be able to function because we work out of essentially public parks and which are close to where these kids live, and that wasn't allowed. After a few teething issues, we have successfully managed to get at least 50% of our children into online classes, and we have them regularly attending classes and staying in touch with their education.
That's a great achievement.
Thank
Having
you.
their IT, infrastructure in place and they are already into education is a great achievement. Thank you, Hina. Okay, I would like Rashida to please tell us about the services of the organization in COVID-19 with respect to education, welfare of children in a little detail. You can
Like
even
I
just
told
give
you, we are
experiences you can share what's happened in the COVID-19 on the grounds.
right. Right. So like I told you, when the lockdown began, and the first basic survival thing was food. So we started providing food to slums and basic all children everywhere. So that basic survival was extremely important at the beginning. Then we started with the online education thing, where we started giving smartphones to schools. So we've given a lot of smartphones to schools so that these children also who would otherwise be deprived of the online learning which other students could easily get access to. So we started providing these smartphones to children. Apart from that, we gave out clothes, we gave out books, toys, dry fruits in CPA, the Cancer Patients AIDS Association, where there are little children suffering from thalassemia. And then most of the time, the education, that was very important. Like after the lockdown, the parents were not able to afford fees for most of them. So then we started providing, like in the later case, when schools started demanding fees and they had to, so then we started giving out educational funds and that way. So from the time the lockdown has started till now, we have touched the lives of like lakhs of students, lakhs of children, where like all the aspects of their education, food, the basic needs of clothing, and everything has been met.
Okay. Is it easy to procure the phones from the public, from the phone shops? How do you channelize procuring these gadgets?
It's not very difficult being an organization with such large strength. Like we are 600 charters around the world and 30 groups just here in Mumbai. So we have a big strength. So like I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, one group just sent out a message that we want to give out smartphones, and within 1 hour she got nine smartphones in an hour.
Amazing.
People are willing to give. There are people.
Everyone is getting conscious about giving to society.
So what Giants can do on our part is connect a bridge between the deficit and the surplus. There are people willing to give. There are people who need to receive. We just have to be a bridge between them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So well said. And thank you, Rashida, for this. Hina, yes, I've also had a little bit of my, phase with Angel Express. I keep coming in between and I kind of work with the team. We do know that there is definitely, a need for resources to support children. Are they available easily, Hina? And do public corporates help you? Where do you get your sourcing from? And do you collaborate to collect funds, materials, clothes? And what other amenities do you require?
So, as you rightly said, there are resources needed because like I mentioned earlier, we're moving them from the offline to the online. Our strength is currently 50-60% students. The ones who are left out are because they don't have access to smart devices at all. or if they have access to a smart device, it's of a parent who's now started working because things are opening up. So then they are missing out on classes. So the resources that we look for right now are used smartphones which are in working conditions, or even resources just for data packs, because they are from families where they are daily wage laborers or, street vendors or those kind of families. So for them to be able to afford a 1.5, 2 GB data pack per day is unimaginable. So that is something that we have started providing our kids with so that they can attend their school classes as well as the classes we organize for them. And as you said, yes, we definitely do collaborate. We look for all collaborations that come our way. We welcome them. Initially, when the lockdown began and we had started the ration support to our families, because we knew they needed that hand holding. And even now, when we've reached out, thankfully, as Rashida said, it's the job of being a bridge. There are people who are ready to give. You just need to spread that word and help comes your way. So
Absolutely.
Yes, help has been there and it is still pouring in. So I say I thank my stars that we have these people with us, so that whatever help is needed, I mean, this is right now, but in my experience of being associated with the foundation, whenever I have needed anything, I have had to just think about it and send maybe one message out in my circle and to my volunteers, and it has come pouring in right at the right time. So yes, there is help available. You just need to ask for it.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for that, Hina. And I would just like to plug in and acknowledge Kids OK Please for giving us this platform to, create awareness about the great work and the humble work that Angel Express Foundation and Giants Welfare Foundation is doing. So what is Kids OK Please? Kids OK Please is a single point platform for you to give marvelous childhoods to your children. I'm addressing to all the audience and parents here, education fraternities, all who are working with children. They are set to offer the best experiences for your children. A tested and verified list of trusted and credible child-friendly content, and the best deals on child-centered brands and engagement, all at the tip of your finger. Kids OK Please consistently creates an enriching content that you and your children can benefit from. A collection of freebies will come as a bonus. Be turned into the Kids OK Please social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and it's all just a click away. So the wonderful audience we have here, including the fraternity of the NGO, the team members, do click onto Kids OK Please and find out more about their content. It will definitely be beneficial. Coming back to our panelists again. Hina, what are the challenges you're facing now, which may impact deeply even post-COVID in the underprivileged child sector? What are your plans? Have you envisaged that there are certain challenges, difficulties, and COVID-19 has definitely created a situation where we have scarce resources. But post-COVID-19, there could be things which would be even more difficult. How have you envisaged this?
So,
what are you planning?
As you rightly said, there are a lot of challenges. Like I said, there are kids who don't have access to a smart device. There are also a lot of kids when the lockdown started opening and travel started becoming an option, who've gone to the villages and now they are scared to come back. The parents are scared to come back till this entire situation subsides because they're like, we don't feel safe there. So for all these kids, we face a challenge because they are going to lose out on a lot of their education. And as I mentioned, they come from first generation learner homes. So it's not like their parents are literate and, the parents can homeschool them or their parents can help them to minimize that gap. So this is going to be one of the biggest challenges that we face, that if we aren't able to rope in the balance 40-50% of our kids back into online one way or another, they are going to face a huge gap. Because for kids who come from privileged homes, something like a gap year is very common abroad and even in India now. But for these kids, taking a gap year means a huge hole in their education. Because when you work with them again after a year, it's like you're starting from scratch again. You know, you'll have to build them up from the ground again. So that is going to be a major challenge. So what we are hoping to do is the kids who are already associated with us, the families who are already associated with us, we are looking to provide them with whatever resources they need so that their kids can continue to study online. Even if they are in their hometowns, we are figuring out ways to get some access of resources to them so that the kids can manage at least basic education that Angel Express gives of English and mathematics, even if it is in school, because that will help them to keep their link with the studies, to keep their education going. So we are taking baby steps right now and looking at current situations, working on resources. We are hoping that in the next let's say by the end of this year or beginning next year, we can go back to the way we used to function in public parks, because we've had a massive inflow. I personally have got so many calls from parents who want their kids to join, and they want their kids to be a part of our foundation. But because we know about the challenges that these people are already facing, unfortunately, we're not yet able to take on new students. So we are hoping that we can continue giving them these resources till COVID is in place. And once it's over and once it's safe, we are hoping to go back to our old way of working, because that connect is needed for these kids. You know, studying online doesn't give them that connect for them. They come to us because it's a safe space for them.
The children need a touch. They need a touch over here.
And they need that safe space, like, you know, where they can come and tell us if something has happened or if they are upset or if there's anything bothering them. They used to come and share it with us. Right now, even though we are connected with them, their parents are around, they're still in that same environment. So those bits are getting missed out, you know, that moral support or that little push that we used to give them saying, it's okay, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. That is getting missed out because these kids are not at all comfortable speaking in front of their parents or from the situation they are in. So I feel that is something that is really getting missed out.
Here we are talking, Hina, about a segment where the parents are acceptable. They have known the way your training is. They are very happy in the gardens, the way you are teaching the different subjects, and they have their confidence in you all as Angel Express. But you have another segment, which is tackling with the mindsets of those parents. Do you face those challenges where you also go to new parents and tell their children to come and work with you all?
So thankfully, because of the work we've been doing, and Angel Express as a foundation has been there for 8 years now, and we have 20 centers across Mumbai. People know the work we do, and we have our free learning centers are in areas where the kids are close by. It's walking distance for them. So word spreads. And because of the work they've seen us doing with the kids who are already associated with us, touch wood, I have not had a situation where I have had to go and, you know, coax a parent into coming into me. In fact, I've had multiple cases where parents have come and said, please take my child. And I've had to say, sorry, we're in the middle of a year, or, you know, sorry, we're maxed out on our capacity of teachers or space. So no, we've not
so it's
had
basically
that
a good word of mouth, which is doing the wonders.
Also, because when we were pre-COVID, there are a lot of other exposures that we give these kids, like outings, our Diwali celebrations, movie outings, or different kind of exposures that privileged kids get. So they get to see a whole new realm of things and a whole new variety of things, and it opens up their mind. It opens up their thinking to what else they can do beyond what they are, you know, traditionally conditioned to thinking. So because of that word of mouth, because we don't focus only on education, but on like a holistic development in one way, parents come flowing in to us.
Now we all know that what a challenging time it must be. They are all cooped up in the four walls. The social emotional development is at a low, when earlier they used to like scamper around and run around the open spaces. So again, getting them back into, you know, the point where classes are going to be physical is going to definitely be a great transition effort.
It will, but honestly, the feedback that we've been getting right now from the kids, more than my volunteers, my kids and my kids have been calling me. Not even the parents getting fed up that the kids are studying from home. The kids have been calling and saying, "Miss, class kab chalu hoga garden? When are we going to go back to the garden? When are we going to go back?" Like today being Teachers Day, all of them have sent us, we've got a inflow of flood of messages, videos. So they've innovated the way they wish us. Instead of making greeting
Amazing.
cards, they've made videos on apps on the phone. Or they've made a greeting card, they've taken a video of it, or they've recorded a video, or they've just, written down their experience of being at AXF. So they have adapted, but they are waiting to go back.
Absolutely.
So I don't see that being a problem. It might be difficult to get my volunteers back because they are used to working from the comfort of their homes, but the kids won't be an issue at all.
I wish the dream comes true very soon.
Thank
and
you.
we all are working physically with each other.
Absolutely.
I would like Rashida to please now, tell us more about the very, very serious campaign that you're working on, child molestation. So give us some insights into what you're doing in this particular area.
First, I will tell you what actually motivated me to do this. We just
Sure.
did one Casual Giants project that we normally do. And I started with like my normal session on child molestation. And then in between, there's a video you'll find on YouTube that we normally show the children. It's a Komal video, which encourages the children to ask for help on the child helpline 1098. Okay, so I show this video, and there's this one girl that started crying, literally, on seeing the video, and that pinched me so hard that there are children. And also, if you see the statistics on Google, this is a very, very common thing. Normally, the threat is at home or close to home, but then children do not have the confidence to speak up. They do not have the confidence to ask for help. Most of the time, the worst situation is, most of the time they feel guilty about it. They're scared, they feel guilty about it. So when I started doing this in one school, in the second school, and so on, I realized that it is inevitable. These things are happening. And unless these children are not going to be aware of this, they will not have the confidence to speak against it, to say no when it happens. They do not know what to do. They're so scared. They're vulnerable children after all, and especially if at all, God forbid, it does happen to children, they do not speak up.
Yeah.
They do not speak up because most of the time they feel guilty.
They go into a nutshell.
Yes. And that affects their mental health so bad that even if not immediately, in the long term, it has a lot of repercussions. So keeping that in mind, when we started this, and then we started getting feedback, and we try to spread this as much as possible. So this is especially for primary children from the 1 to 4th standard. That is the time that is most vulnerable. So we try to do that.
Okay, and how do you all basically reach out to them? Okay, at times you all get a call, or there are many other mentors and facilitators who may be connecting to you and having certain observations they would like to share. So you get to know about children, but overall, how do you all find these children, and how do you counsel them? How you all have a team, or you all outsource it, or how do you do that?
Most of the time, these seminars are given by me myself. I do it myself. And we go into schools, mostly municipal schools, or even other schools, or private schools, or whatever. They ask us, and we do these seminars normally in schools for the children from grade 1 to 4, as I said. And if at all we find that there is a case as serious as the one I just mentioned before, then we pass them on to professional counselors. We have a team of counselors, and we pass them on. But then that is all very, very confidential.
What about the parents? How do you, convince
then the
them?
counselors will deal up with that. After the awareness is created in the school, then if at all need be, firstly we prepare the child to, like what we do is we prepare the child. When I give the seminar, at that time I tell, my end is always that today we will go home and tell my parent or whoever I'm closest to, today itself I will go home and tell him or her that if anything happens to me, if I feel I'm endangered, I will come and tell you. That is that particular day they will go home and say this. So that opens up one path for them, that in case in future they're endangered, they can easily go and speak up because I've already told them this.
Absolutely.
Yes. So then if at all there is a problem, then the counselors have a better.
This is a very, very serious subject on child abuse and molestation. Here, even in the preschool end, we have a counselor. We keep, narrating stories on good touch, bad touch.
Yes.
At the nursery level, kindergarten 1, kindergarten 2, you need to emphasize this with the children and make them understand. Because then they are aware and they know exactly how to, talk to the closed one, as you said, in the family. They will not be too introverted. And they need to communicate. Otherwise, it leads to a delay, and then there are repercussions which are very, very harmful to the child and, the surroundings around. So true. Okay, thank you, Rashida, for this. Hina, your most successful experience, your most happy experience in connecting to children. Do you remember some episodes while you're working on the grounds? And I see you because you have to literally sometimes they are so happy, the children around, that Hina's shouting and telling them, settle down, settle down.
So there have been many, there have actually been many, but there's one that has particularly touched me personally. So there is a student of mine who is the one who got me to start the 9th and 10th coaching at AXF Colaba. We didn't have it earlier than that. And that particular student of mine, last year when we had our annual day of AXF, had written a poem that was based on me, and he performed it in front of everybody. And when I started with him last year in June, I would have never imagined him speaking such good English. His English was always good, but such good English confidently in an auditorium full of 1,000+ people. So that is something that has personally definitely touched me. And I mean, it's something I will take a long, long way with me. But there are multiple such incidences, because like we are dealing with kids. So for them, they don't, we as adults feel that if you need to show somebody your appreciation, or if you need to show somebody that, okay, I have gone from point A to point B, we have to do a grand thing. But no, with these kids, it's really simple things. We have one kid who, when he had joined Angel Express, I wasn't there, but I know of this story and I've seen his progress. He didn't know ABCD, and now he talks in English. So we've had multiple such scenarios, where kids who've come to us. We actually have one student with us who's in grade 3, and in an Urdu medium school, which is not very common amongst our children also. But she speaks English so fluently, and she can read so fluently. Sometimes her parents call me and say, she tries to speak to us also at home in English, and we are clueless about what we are saying. So these are small things that really make you realize the impact that you're making and how you're enriching these lives. Something that they thought unthinkable at one point has become a piece of cake for them now.
Absolutely. Abstract way of appreciation is the best appreciation.
Absolutely. And without saying it, they just do it and they'll come and show you and you'll be like, oh, wow.
Lovely. Okay, Rashida, what about you? Any experiences you would like to share on the grounds when you're working? Something in your mind, 2-3 experiences, if you can narrate to us.
Firstly, see, we run Balwadis. There is one Balwadi at Vile Parle that we run. It's been functional about 40 years now. So there we have 65 students as of now. And apart from that, there are Balwadis in Kasara. There's 61 Balwadis, a cluster of villages. But there's 61 small Balwadis over there, like kindergartens. And so we provided bicycles over there, because these children, when they're in Balwadis and they have to go from one village to another, they have to walk for hours to reach their villages. So we provided bicycles to them. One certain project that I will say very, very close to my heart is, there's a village Wadia in Banaskantha, Gujarat, where the profession of the village is prostitution. All the women, the patent profession since ages, like since traditional ages, has been prostitution, and the women in the village were all prostitutes, the men were pimps, that kind of, and in that atmosphere, our members have gone there, they have rescued children from there. In a history of 156 years, there hadn't been a marriage there. They did a Samulagan, the mass wedding, with 18 couples at that time. And they rescued the girl children, all of them from there, all the girls, they rescued them from them. And they kept, close by, there was a village called Doria, where they had this Jain temple. So in the courtyard of the Jain temple, they built up the complete infrastructure for these girls to stay, live, and get educated there. The worst thing is they couldn't put them in school because they didn't even know their birth dates. They didn't have birth certificates. They didn't know the birth. It was such a pathetic situation. In this situation, they put them over there. They got them educated, like, basic education to begin with for a couple years, and then they moved them to Ahmedabad, where they live in an ashram now. Now this has been like 11 years or so.
Are they all employed and settled now?
Yes, a few of them.
Are they in touch with you?
In the beginning, yeah. So one of my members just told me yesterday that one of the girls, she has a corporate job now.
Amazing!
Oh, wow,
wonderful.
So
I do know of another organization which shares these children, and they have made, a life out of them. I do know personally an organization, and I'm so proud of the owner. They are so ambitious and so passionate, the children. Amazing, Rashida.
So traditionally, all these years, obviously, since this was given to them by birth, the profession of,
right,
trafficking was like given to them by birth. They obviously had no hopes ahead of them to give them hope, to make them dream and to accomplish their dream. And when they grow up and you be proud of you feel like you're parents to them, and you feel proud of them accomplishing so much.
It's good we are talking on this webinar, and so many people are going to hear about the, the service organizations. And there are so many people who also want to share a helping hand, and they don't know to what cause they have to share the helping hand. But here we are here to tell them exactly what Giants Welfare Foundation is doing and what Angel Express is doing. So they can definitely, lend their hand forward and become members of the organization and participate in the different drives we have. Amazing. Thank you.
I'd like to add to this name.
So,
like you say, that if people want to connect to us, there is no limit. See, we pick up children from backgrounds where it's zero. Okay. So even if it's not just cash donations or what, even decluttering your house, even if you have plastic waste, e-waste, whatever, even if you're decluttering your house, send it across. We will make the most out of it.
absolutely.
Even if it is not monetary, it's in kind or whatever. These people are zeroed. Like when we pick them up, it's like zero. So any little bit of help is always appreciated.
Rashida, if you can highlight something on medicines. There is a kind of a member on the audience group who has said, speak something on the medicine campaign, on the medical benefits you're giving.
See, basically right now with COVID happening around and all, firstly, what we try to do is provide sanitization. Sanitization in terms of giving sanitizers, masks and all that, because that prevention is better than cure, obviously. But apart from that, if it's medical things, not just for children, even for adults, we do a lot of medical camps, we do medical health, like if it's a surgery or whatever, you can always come back to us and we're there. We'll try as much as we can.
Absolutely. And in between, Rashida, you mentioned about the bicycles. So even I had participated in the Giants Group of Bike Hiller campaign. We had got, we had gone very far to iMagica, and we had taken a turn and gone in a remote village. So yes, we had a very productive day, and we distributed cycles to the underprivileged school students over there. We went to the little hut where their school was also. And it was a nice, like a small little shed where they were studying. So I found that there was a little girl who was donated a bicycle. And I put the question across to the president then that will the little child's leg fall on the pedal, and will she be able to cycle like to home from school? So they said, no, the father will ride the bicycle and she will sit behind with her school bag. And that is why we are giving the bicycle to the family. I said, amazing.
So there's another one that we did in Kasara, where it was told to me that when they took the bicycles there, they made these double seater, like they put a seat behind also. And,
If there are two
and then they
children
wrote
also.
names of the children that they're giving to. So one big child and one small child. Okay, so like that way they had written names. And when the big child passes out school, and then the small child comes on the front seat. And then he takes a smaller child behind.
Working with the minimum resources in the most optimal way. We have to learn from them.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because we have so many things around us and we don't value that. So we have to learn from the intricacies of these families. With the minimal, they make the maximum happiness and the maximum utilization from whatever little they have. Thank you for sharing this, Rashida. So I would like to now, kind of just address a kind of, a message for all the people, seeing you right now, the audience that is participating. Any message for them from your organization, Rashida?
Firstly, today I am here on behalf of my branch president, Mehzabin Mandasorwala. So I'm going to quote something that she always tells us is do what you can from where you are. Very, very important. Do whatever little bit that you can from wherever you are. She always tells us this. And another thing is what we are trying to do is this complete holistic development that I'm saying for the children, giving them every little basic thing that they need, from medicals to clean water to everything. And all of this with the basic necessity being education. To build our future's education. So my own quote for today could be, give a man a fish and feed him for a day, but teach him how to fish and you will feed him for a lifetime.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
That in mind, I think.
Right. So thank you, Rashida, for this. And I would like to also, tell the audience that they are available on the Facebook, on the Instagram. You can also connect to them personally on the messengers and, give your time. Actually, funds and other materials or scrap, all that is definitely a part of the material campaigns that, service organizations have. But giving your time, just going there to the garden and say, reading a story or even singing a song to the children is causing great delight. It is like a new face they see, and they are always happy. And then they remember you, you get connected, and you can continue with your following sessions as well. So please contribute to the education for the children, as every child has a right to be educated. Hina, can you please come on the panelist speaking now and tell us something that you'd like to spread your message across to? What message you have for us?
So it's actually like Rashida said, right? Either you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you teach him how to fish and you feed him for life, so he can feed himself for life. It's the same thing, and it's like you said, it's every penny or every act, I would say, actually, because it's not just the money, but it's every single act that counts. So my message would be to anyone who feels that they want to give back to society and you don't know how, I would say just reach out to somebody in your circle. You will definitely find a way. For us, if we have someone who can remove, any educated individual who can remove even 2 hours in a week from their schedule, if you can remove 2 hours in the entire week, you will be able to change the life of at least 5 children.
So let's do that. All of us, dear audience, along with me, we should try and do this beautiful gestures and beautiful suggestions which have come from the very, very dynamic people I know who work on the grounds. That's Miss Rashida Maimun and Miss Hina Mulchandani. So let's accept that and let's imbibe it into our system and let's move ahead and transform lives. I would now like to please once again speak about Kids OK. It's an anchoring note from me. There is free membership in Kids OK, please. And they will be launching different services and offers. Please do connect to their online programs. Next week, we do have another session, which is season 2, where fortunately, we have got the acceptance from esteemed guests, Dr. Maria Nigam and Mrs. Raina Khatri. And I'm once again going to moderate, the webinar for these stalwarts in the social work avenues. I would now like to please thank all the audience here and the participants for their time. We thank you, Hina, Miss Hina Mulchandani, Miss Rashida Maimun, for the information that you have shared to us, and you have created some great hopes and insights into us, which is going to be of high recall, and we are going to take a step forward now and move to transforming these lives even more. We are all introspecting after this session to now give back to society. And most importantly, we thank the audience, we thank Kids OK, please, and we do thank your respective heads, as you said, Mehzabeen and Miss Anubha Sharma.
Yes.
Thank them to permit you all to come on this panel and share your inputs on your organization so freely. We would like all of you, dear audience, to get connected on the social handles. Once again, for all the team here, Giants Welfare Foundation has its page, Facebook. We have their Instagram. Angel Express Foundation has their social handle, Facebook and Instagram page, and Kids OK, please. So please get connected and tuned into them and start your communication. Have a lovely day. Happy Teachers Day. Happy Nutrition Week, and thankful for your time.
Thank
We
you.
would like to
Thank you for the opportunity.
Any questions coming from the audience? There's nothing much on the chat. Maybe most of them are, glued onto the Facebook. So they will see at that time, being a Saturday. But looking forward to their participation, and you will surely get their, their feedback personally. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The participants are thanking us. Okay, thank you to all of you. There are audiences who are thanking us on the chat. I think we can leave the meeting. Yeah, Hina, please feel free and have a lovely day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Half day
Same
left.
here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.